Good morning, good afternoon and evening. You have tuned into the information session of the 2024 Food Systems Innovation Challenge. My name is Mirjam Troost and I work in the WUR Student Challenges team of Wageningen University and Research in the Netherlands. Today, I will guide you through the characteristics of the challenge and explain you how as a student you can participate. Furthermore, I will introduce you to 3 speakers that will explain the concept of food systems and how you as a student can contribute to food systems transformation. A warm welcome to our speakers, Thais Vieira, Svante Helms, and Judith Wafula. They will give you several examples of topics that you can touch upon in the project that you sign up with for this competition. Let them inspire and inform you. But first of all, I will give you a bit more information on the student challenge itself. If you have questions during our presentations, please type your questions and remarks in the chat or in the Q&A, and we will respond to them in the chat or during the Q&A at 4:40 p.m. So after all the presentations, there will be a moment where you can still post all your questions, and we will all be on screen to answer them. There will also be polls appearing on your screen, so we really want to invite you to participate in them, and it's fully anonymously, so nobody will see what you pressed, and we are very curious about it. So first of all, I want to tell you a little bit more about the challenge itself. So this is a summary. We invite teams of 2 to 5 students that will be selected from the participating university, and I will get back to that later. It's a project-based challenge, so we ask you to design and also implement at the same time a food systems innovation in your own surroundings. And we want you to link it to the national pathways to sustainable food systems. And luckily, we have a speaker today that will tell you more about the national pathways, and we will also share a link on those pathways, so you can check it out yourself. The deadline of handing in a concept note and to register is the 11th of March, so we still have some time to think of the brightest ideas. We will announce the selected 18 teams on 16th of April. And then from then on, all the teams will start working and they will receive seed funding of up to €2,500 to really implement your ideas. We will organize mentoring for you, and we will certainly also organize workshops. Then the finals will be on the 30th of September in Wageningen in the Netherlands. And we aim to invite 1 student per team to come to the Wageningen campus to pitch the ideas of the team. So it's really a competition. There will be award money, and we will give exposure to the winning team at either the World Food Forum event in Rome in October or at the COP29, that's the climate summit in November. Furthermore, you also have the chance after the challenge to apply for a spot in the Youth Food Lab 2025, which will start in February 2025. The Youth Food Lab is an incubation program that Wageningen University and Research is organizing together with student organization IAS and with the World Food Forum of FAO. So let me introduce you to our partners. Wageningen University and Research is organizing this challenge together with the Netherlands Food Partnership. The Netherlands Food Partnership is playing a convening role in strengthening relationships and networks between partners from the Global South and the Netherlands. And they provide linkages and knowledge access to all agri and food organizations, from farmers to consumers. So this is our partner in the challenge. But furthermore, we are very happy that we are so pleased to partner up with 8 other universities, and you see the list of universities on the screen. We partner with Lukenya University in Kenya, with Wollo University, Ethiopia, University of Abuja, Nigeria, University of Ghana, Makerere University, Uganda, Esalq-USP, Brazil, Anton University in Suriname, Kathmandu University in Nepal, And I want to warmly welcome all the coordinators that are helping us establishing this program at those universities. And of course, also a warm welcome to all the students from these universities that are here in the session with us today. Support partners are the student organization EAS and World Food Forum, Youth Food Lab that I mentioned before. And we also get support from the Wageningen University Fund and the Wageningen University Research knowledge-based program on food and water security. Thank you very much. So how can you apply? You can either apply with a team. A team should be from a participating university, and we invite 2 student teams per partner universities. In the end, will be selected to enter the challenge in April. Every team will have 2 to 5 students per team. You can mix your team, so from different universities, as long as at least 2 of the team members are from the participating university. And I've had this question before, so maybe you are also wondering, if you mix your teams with different universities, you can also go outside from the participating universities. So for instance, if you are a Wageningen University and research student from Sri Lanka, and you want to mix your team with students in Sri Lanka, that is possible. At least 2 of the team members should be on site. So in the before mentioned example, at least 2 of the team members should be in Sri Lanka, since this is a project-based challenge, and we really want you to do the job during the challenge period from April till September. So there must be students on site that can do the job on the ground. We invite bachelor, master, and recently graduated students. Recently graduated students means that you graduated not earlier than the academic year 2022-2023, and there should be a maximum of 1 recently graduate per team. So this is if you want to enter the competition with a team, but there's also a possibility, but that's only for the students from Dutch universities of applied sciences, to apply to register as an individual student. You can register with stating where you study, which study program you do. We want you to write a short motivation, and then we will match you with one of the teams in either maybe Brazil, Ghana, maybe Uganda. So there's a separate registration form for that, and I will get back to that after we hear the speakers. So any questions, put them in the chat, please. So without further ado, we invited 3 speakers, and please pay attention because they will inspire you in topics that you could bring up for your own concept notes. First of all, I want to ask Thais Vieira from Esalq-USP to appear. Hello, Thais. It's very nice that you're here with us, and your university is also one of the participating universities. So we are happy you are here, and I want to give the floor to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here presenting this challenge, a new one. So I will present myself. I am a professor, I am an agronomist, and I work on food science at the University of São Paulo in the College of Agriculture in the country. We are not in São Paulo city, but in a small village, such like Wageningen and Amsterdam. So, and now, since January from last year, I am the Dean of the Esalq, is the Agricultural College of University of São Paulo. But today I am here to talk about challenges, the challenges we have been faced along the development of the humanities. So, looking back at the history, I have a question for you. Did food shape the civilization? What do you think? Yes, yes. This inscription in a cave in Valencia, Spain, south of Spain, in the Mediterranean region, shows the search for food by hunting. And eating changed over time from the hunting and the consumption of plants and raw materials for survival only until the beginning of the agriculture more than 10,000 years ago. So the world as we know it today has been shaped by our relationship with food. Food has always acted as a catalyst for the social transformation and all the stratification of society, the division of labor and professions, and the industrial development, the military conflicts, the geopolitical conflicts, and the world economy. All these have been based on the food development. In this nice image from Van Gogh, with all that poetry, dates from the same year, 1988, the same year when the slavery was abolished in Brazil. So it's only to show you how the humanity and the culture and habits has been shaped by food. So more than shaped, our civilization has been determined by the way and the relations we have with food. So the organization of cities, as we know today, has its roots in the way we produce food. And the agriculture changed for the logical survival, and the Industrial Revolution transformed the food production and distribution, impacting the population's diet. From the old techniques such as salty or drying food until the new process we have incorporated, we have many layers in our systems today. And along with this evolution, we have many aspects. Food had an impact in the formation of culture, creating traditions, eating habits that become part of the identity of different peoples and cultures around the world. And the technology advances and the scientific knowledge have defined and continue to define the product chain, the supply patterns. Political and economic aspects have defined the direction the world as it is today. So, despite the technology advance, we still suffer from food insecurity and hunger, unfortunately. So this slide shows you some 4 aspects of the world today. So we have here, let me take the vulnerability and food insecurity, and the population lifestyle based on a few products. We have also the requirement for environmental and sustainable processes more and more in our food production chains, and also a lack of confidence in the food chain by consumers everywhere in the world. On the other hand, we have the opportunities to face these challenges, such as the reduction of waste, the increasing of the variety of products and ingredients. We have to improve process to have a clean process, more and more being adopted by even agricultures and food industry and all the systems. And we need to have transparency in the communication. So, Far beyond the increasing productivity, the reduction of losses during the chain, including the waste of processed food and the development of new additives and new forms of preservation with safety, sensory aspects, economical aspects must be on the agenda of the new generation. And these slides, it's only a picture from FAO to show you how important is the waste today. And it's important to note too that there are differences in developed countries and even in countries like Brazil. The waste of ready-to-eat products is increasing now. And we live in a complex world, and food production is a part of the complex system. So I like very much this image that shows us all the links among food production, waste, field, climate changes and climate needs and all the economic aspects of the food systems. So agri-food systems are complex, and it requires a vision of the whole, the total aspects to develop solutions that are technically feasible, sustainable, and mostly important, that represent the wishes of people, of consumers. So now consumers desire a clean label, healthy and sustainable products, but they also want convenience and affordability. So in this scenario of constant changings and challenges, we need to consider the human being in the center of the decisions. And part of the solutions in these complex systems involve making use of wasting, extending the shelf life of food products, adopting the environmentally friendly processes. And the best way to think about the future we want is to involve the players behind these complex systems. So teamwork is the key to succeed in solutions for new models. I like very much a lot to work with design thinking in food development and process development and new systems development, because the point of view is the point of view of the human being, of us, is our point of view. And so it's a suggestion is to apply basic concepts of design thinking, which is based on empathy, mostly on empathy, to ensure that good ideas are transformed into creative and necessary proposals to create a more equitable and easier future for all people on our planet. So it's a very short presentation, only to show you that students, bachelor, masters, and even the PhD professionals can work together, because we must work together to transform the way the world produces, consumers, and think about food. So this is my presentation, and I am here to hear you. And if you have some questions after, by the end of the presentation, I can put it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thais. And as Thais said, please put your questions in the chat. So we will move on to our next speaker, which is Mr. Svante Helms. Svante works for the United Nations Food Systems Coordination Hub, and he will tell you more about the national pathways to sustainable food systems. So thank you so much, and we will, Thais and I will disappear and see you in a bit. Svante, I think your microphone is not on yet. No, I cannot hear you yet. I see that you have your microphone on in the system, so it should be something in your laptop. Maybe you can go out and come back again. And in the meantime, I can see if there are already some beautiful questions in the chat. I see a question of Philip Larbi Kweku, that is the program for only agricultural students. Well, we recommend that you make mixed teams, also multidisciplinary. So could also be architecture students, social science students. So we recommend to make mixed teams actually. So that's a really good question. Svante, we cannot hear you yet. Okay. Maybe without. Oh wait, can you
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. So
apologies.
I will disappear now. The floor is yours.
We had such a great test and everything worked perfectly fine. And here we are live. And,
that's live. That's live.
That's just how it is. But we managed.
Chaos. Okay. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, students. First of all, welcome to this challenge here. And I just want to say that this is such a fantastic opportunity. I never had that when I was a student in Denmark, but to connect with what's going on outside the walls of the university as early as possible, although some of you have already finished, is just such a great way to zoom into future job, but also the thinking with some of the key actors in the field. So, and the other way around, it's our opportunity to work with the leaders of tomorrow and engage with the leaders of tomorrow. So I think it's just a fantastic initiative from the university here and other partners that are part of this. And I'm very honored to be part of this session today. So my name is Svante Helms, and I am from this UN Food System Coordination Hub, which is an inter-agency office that is located in FAO. I'm myself from WFP. We have different staff from different UN agencies. And the whole idea with this agency, it was established about 1.5 years ago, is really to see how we can help governments, help countries and nations in accelerating the transformation of their food systems so that they become more healthy, they become more resilient. We have all these crises after crisis nowadays, so resilience is key, and also that they're more equitable and they're more sustainable. So that's why we have been established, and I can give you a bit more info on what we are doing here, and then I want to dive into what matters more to you. Let me see here, I change, here we go. Okay, so here is just very briefly the structure of this coordination hub. We have 6 work streams, and I'm leading the top one, as you can see, the implementation of the pathways. So essentially, we have 2 functions. One is that we have an advisory functions to governments in terms of how can they set up their national pathway, how can they update it, also how can they operationalize it, integrate it, and bring it to life out in the field and among all these players that are out there in the food system. And secondly, we have a role when it comes to all these different actors that are there to help governments. So you have UN agencies, you have civil society, you have universities, you have private sector, you have alliances, and you have a whole plethora of different actors that want to help the governments. And how can we best help them market their offer and connect them with governments? So these are the 2 key roles that I am working on. And I thought the first thing we should look at is these national pathways. What are they? So we have, perhaps we should start by thinking about what food system is. Food system is a very broad area. It's not just agriculture, it's also health, it's also climate mitigation, adaptation, it's employment, it's digitization. It's really a gambit of things. And in most developing countries, more than half the population are working in food systems. But we don't have a Ministry of Food Systems, right? We don't have a Minister of Food System. We don't have food system plans. but we have plans from different sectors, agriculture, health, etc. So we are trying to push a policy area here without an institutional home. So we need some instruments to do that. And one of the instruments is the national pathway, a plan that is really embracing food systems. And we have some other instruments. So the food system plan, you can see that 126 countries have already developed this, and about 15 of them has already updated them. They developed them back in 21. And it's really a planning instrument for governments to help transform their food systems. We are very interested in going from planning to action. So we need these plans to be implemented and brought to life out in the most remote fields in each and every country. So to do that, we need to have the pathways to be implemented. So they require an action plan where you have you will find the pathways on the websites that you can see there, but often the government has an action plan, and you should actually ask them for the action plan, because here you can see who is going to do what, which ministry is going to do what's going to be the role of UN agencies and others. There is a timeline and a budget. So that gives you a sense of what's really rolling in the country that you're working in. These pathways, they have an action plan, but more importantly is we want them to be implemented. So implemented into the national laws and policies, and even more important in the sector plans. So the Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture is picking it up, the Ministry of Health is picking it up, the Ministry of Environment, etc. And they start implementing the priorities from the pathways into their sector plan, their 5-year plan. So you can see some figures here from a survey that was done some month ago. So 67 countries, percent of the countries that have a pathway already start implementing them through sector plans. Another thing of taking notice of here is I don't know if you can read, there's actually some text in kind of light gray. Try to see if you can read that as well. 70% have what is called a governance structure. So that means you have typically a task force or a committee that is, it's all about moving the food system agenda forward. And they have representatives from various ministries and donors and UN agencies, etc. And that is a good, let's say a good entity, a good agency to be aware of and potentially connect to. And there is a number of other data you can see there. For example, 50%, that actually means that 50% of the countries are doing the dialogues. And I'll get back to the dialogues as well. Okay, so I thought I would give you some resources. I think Miriam has already shared a link to where you can find the pathways. I don't know if it's the same or not, but if you click here, you will come to our website. And on the website, there is something called Dialogues and Pathways. And here you can go and find the pathway of the country you're working in. If it has been developed, it will be here. If you click on the link that is there. Sorry, I'm just going back here. We have Food Assistance Gateway. Miriam, I don't think I can take the screen, right, and show live. I don't think I can do that.
No, you cannot. No. But I shared the link in the chat.
So okay, that's fine. Okay, well then I'll just verbally go over it. So, get to know your pathway. Ask the government if they have an action plan, so you can see more concretely what they're planning to do as you want to link your project up to the national pathway. Then you may even think about, would it be possible to work with some partners in this project? So we have, if you go under this Food Systems Assistance Gateway, you can find there's 28 partners. So it's 28 organizations, it's alliances, it's food system coalitions, it's NGOs and others who are presenting what is their offer to governments in terms of food systems by different thematic areas. So you can look there, and it's just a one pager. We want to keep it short and sweet. But you can have a look there and see if there are any partners that are doing more or less what you are doing. And there is also a link to a focal point within these different agencies, and you can reach out to. And similarly with these food system coalitions of actions, it's called coalitions, food system coalitions, which is, we have 28 of those. And these coalitions are different partners that have come together to support governments on different thematic areas. So it's both donors, member states, it's universities, it's UN agencies, and a lot of other partners. So for example, you have something called the School Meal Coalition, you have Healthy Diet Coalition, you have Agroecology Coalition, etc. So there are 28 coalitions with different thematic areas. And if you're working in one of these thematic areas, you can read more about what they're doing, learn. And again, if you have a super idea, why not try to see if they would be interested in supporting you one way or another. So that is, it's not obviously a guarantee that they would do that, but I think take a look at it, see if there is a match there, and see if you want to take this forward. Okay. I want to give you a last little country example. I was the head of the WFP office in Bhutan. And some of you may ask, where is Bhutan? So Bhutan is a little country south of Tibet and surrounded by India. And I was there. And I just want to give you a little flavor of the power of food system dialogues, because it could also be something you could consider as a project. So I'll give you a little story from Bhutan here. First of all, these dialogues, which has been carried out in all of the 126 countries back in 2021 as part of the preparation of the pathway. So the dialogues is sort of the consultations, the planning process that has been carried out. And in Bhutan, it was carried out in 3 times in the provinces and 1 time nationally. And the beauty of these dialogues is that they're different from a typical traditional process that governments are using when they're doing, for example, their agriculture sector plan or their health plan or their, let's say, their environment plan, because they're much more inclusive and they bring in much more people who really knows what is going on out there, right? So you have farmer groups were part of it, women group, private sector, district officials. There are people working in the districts who are really, they're the one who knows what the real problems and the real solutions are. So they're out there. And they're part of this. And so they were all part of this process of developing the pathway. They developed then a pathway called the Food System for Gross National Happiness. So that's Transformative Pathways in Bhutan. And here you go. This is just an example of your pathway. So a pathway typically have a number of outcomes, and you can see the outcomes here around production, market development, digital tools, etc. I'm rushing a bit here because I know I have only 10 minutes and I think I'm a bit beyond here. This is my last slide. Just in very short, you have a country that has developed agricultural strategy. This is developed by people from a capital, and that's how it normally goes. Then you have these dialogues, and the beauty of the dialogues, as I said, is you bring all these different actors that are actually working food systems, and you bring in their perspectives, their experiences, their views. The discussions are then crystallized in the pathway, and in Bhutan, the Minister of Agriculture said, hold on, this is really, really good stuff. This is forward-looking. It is built on the experiences of a lot of different actors that were not part of the development of our agricultural strategy. For example, the private sector were not involved, the youth were not involved, but they were involved in the pathway document. And this is such a brilliant piece of work. So let's change our agricultural strategy. Let's bring it from 40 down to 30 and revise it because of the pathway and because of the engagement of different actors in the dialogue. So I will leave you with this one. It's an example of innovation. Countries, 50% of the countries since 2021 has continued these dialogues, and see the dialogues as a strategy planning process, a way to bring in all these different actors to enrich the basis on which the countries should do their plans. So some of the countries may want to update the dialogues, which you can contribute to, or they want to localize the dialogue, so they make sure that the provinces is also integrating some of the priorities of the pathways, or they want to green the dialogues, for example, or they want to make them more healthy. And this could be something you could consider as well. So thanks again for this opportunity here, and happy to engage again with you during our Q&A session.
Okay, thank you so much, Svante. And we will make sure after this session, we will send an email to all the participants and the people that registered So we can also add the links to where you can find partners, maybe in your country, that Swante mentioned. So we'll put that in an email for you. So we will move on to our third speaker, which is Judith Wafula from Lukenya University in Kenya. And we are very happy that they are also participating university in this challenge. We worked with Lukenya University already for 2 years. Since 2 years ago, a student team from their university participated in our climate adaptation in food systems challenge. So Judith, if you can on your video and your microphone, then the floor is yours. Hello. So I will disappear now and see you in a bit.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. This is Dr. Judith Wafula from Lukenya University. I'm happy to be part of this presentation today. Now, on my part, I'll be able to give some of the stories that have been success stories that we have had in relation to Food Systems Challenge at Lukenya University. First of all, Lukenya University is situated on the southeastern part of Kenya, along River Athi, about 2,100 acres of land, close to very wonderful natural resources like Yatta Plateau, and then there's a national park called Savo East National Park, and we have various schools, education, social science, agriculture, technical studies and natural sciences. We also have business and economics and health sciences. So we programs range from certificate level to degree level. Now we use all these to be able to reach out to our communities. We develop various programs and projects that we can be able to reach out to our local community with. And some of these include our tree program, where we are mitigating climate change. We've reached out to schools. We use the provincial administration in the country. The county government is also working together with us to ensure that all these plans that we put in place succeed. So we donate trees. Right now we are targeting 10 million trees within 10 years. And we are working together with the Mama Doing Good, which is the office of the First Lady in the country. And we believe that we'll be able to succeed. We have a green philosophy. And in this, we are as we do the tree growing, we are encouraging people to actually grow trees, not just plant. And we also have a seedling farm that is where we are doing some trees to be able to distribute to the community. But we're also encouraging the community members to establish tree nurseries so we can be able to get trees from them, as we are targeting 10 million trees. So it will be some form of business. That's a way also of supporting the community. Now, in line with what we do, of course, we support students to be able to come up with projects. And among our examples, we have a team of students that took part in King Innovation Challenge. That was in some years back, that's 2021. And they managed to be among the top in the world. There's a hydropan team made up of that had 5 students. So this is an example of a project that actually made it. And also it made it even up to the World Food Forum, where we had one of the students representing the team at World Food Forum last year, 2022, where he attended the World Food Forum and represented them in that project. So what was the problem statement for them? So this is just an example to help you also think about other projects that you can be able to do. So they were their problem was to solve food insecurity issues in semi-arid and arid regions. They took specifically Makueni County in Kenya, Kibwezi East Sub-County. So there is unreliable rainfall. It is a semi-arid region. So they depending on rain-fed agriculture was not sustainable. So the group thought of having a climate-smart agro-hydropan system. And that's what they later abbreviated to hydropan. Yeah, so in this system, they were able to come up with some hollow that was made on a ground. And then some water was filled into that space. Of course, the water can also come from rain when we have the days or the times when we have excess rains. They can be able to tap the water from surface runoff to be able to use in the hydropans. So this water is stored so that it can be used when it's dry. They use it for irrigation, and they were able to produce food. So the hydropan can be used whether whether it's a rainy season or not a rainy season. So through the whole process, they were able to get some proceeds from the food that they were able to sell, and it was sustainable. After the project that was done at Lukenya University, one of the students, Dennis, was able to do it or to scale it up in his community back at home. And that's what took him to the World Food Forum. So that's one idea. The key thing, of course, for any of these ideas is to have some impact. It needs to have some value or some impact to the community. Like the Hydropan project, there was some value in terms of food production, increased food production, food security, and improving living standards, improving or controlling soil erosion, also providing farmers with some learning, some kind of a learning center where they could be able to come and learn how they can be able to produce crops even in this semi-arid and even the arid regions. So by scaling up, then more farmers were able to benefit, and more people. Of course, it was able also to create employment for more people. So in other words, just to summarize, it means that you need to choose a project. In choosing a project, you have to identify a problem that needs a solution in your locality. And of course, connected to the national pathways, you've been told about that. You've been told about getting ideas that can be able to transform. They should be able to transform the community. So you should be able to transform that good idea into a proposal. So choose that one best idea that you can be able to transform into a proposal, and then build your innovation around that idea. So, and that idea, of course, should be achievable by September 2024, because the project has a timeline from which it will be assessed. So in that case, then it needs to be able to have that time limit. So I urge each and every one of you to just go for it. There's an idea, you can be able to transform into a proposal, as you are told by Thais, so you need to go for. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Judith. It's really a pleasure to work with your university and to work with your students. So hopefully a lot of Lukenya University students will apply for this challenge. So you touched upon already your choice of project, and I want to tell you a little bit more about it. So I will continue with the slides. So, and Judith will be back for the Q&A in a few minutes. So what's next? We've had the online info session here, and so we are telling you a lot of information, but it will be very valuable if you also visit an on-campus information session. So all the participating universities, they will host an info session on their campus physically, and there will be the contact persons of that particular university. There will be some speakers. It will also be an opportunity to meet other students at your universities, because maybe you have an idea and you want to get some team members also enthusiastic and build your teams there. So you see a list of all the information sessions. We will also mention that in the email that we will send after this session. So as said before, I will add also the links of Svante Helms about the national pathways, but we will certainly also include a list of the on-campus info sessions. It's regularly updated on our website, so you can also already find this list on the website. So the next step, after you decided, okay, this is nice, I want to participate, and you will visit your on-campus info session, then you can go to the website of Wageningen University Research, to the FSE Challenge. So you see the link there, and maybe Mike can put it in the chat also. We have opened applications now, and they will be open until the 11th of March, 9 o'clock in the morning, Central European Time, so that will be Amsterdam time. There are 2 registration forms, so don't be confused. I made a screenshot for the application form for Teams, so you can go there. You have to register all the team members, put in all the email addresses, put on which university you are representing. And then we will ask you to upload a standard format concept note. And that concept note, you have to fill that in and upload it with the registration. So that's very important. The contact person at your university can tell you more about it and go through it with you, because there are several ways of the different universities. They help you in different ways. So it's good to contact the contact person at your university with that. But in the concept note, you will state the problem. So exactly what Judith just explained. First of all, you have to identify a problem, and then you start working on the solutions, which will be a food systems innovation. We want you to also add a budget. So what if you are selected and you can start working on your innovation in April? How will you spend the seed funding that we will provide of up to 2,500? So it's very important that you also include that. And there should be a timeline also. Okay, in April, we start working on our innovation. How are we going to do it? What are the steps we are going to take? Because that's what we also look at while we are selecting the teams. If it's feasible, is it scale? Well, feasibility is even more important than scalability, because this is a first step, of course, and first step also in your careers on maybe as entrepreneurs, or maybe you want to go further in research. But the planning is very important to include it in the concept note. So this is the registration form for teams. Then there's another form for individual students from Dutch Universities of Applied Sciences. So what we ask them is to write your name, your email address, the university in the Netherlands that you study at. So you don't have to be Dutch, but you have to study at the Dutch University of Applied Science, or a University of Applied Sciences. We will ask you to mention preference to be in a team. For instance, you are very interested in Brazil, or you're very interested in Ethiopia, then you can pick that country. Furthermore, you fill in your field of studies, and we ask you to write a short motivation. So make sure you put in the topic that you're interested in. Deadline is the same, so before the 11th of March you can apply. And then we will do the matchmaking. So we will see, okay, this student at the Dutch university really fits into this topic, into this country. So we will add on top of the teams, we will add 1 or 2 students from a Dutch University of Applied Sciences. They will work remotely with you. But from experience, we also know that things, maybe they already scheduled thesis in your country, or, well, there are many possibilities there. But so that's more or less, I cannot tell you exactly how things are going to be. But if you're interested, register, and then we will reach out to you and we will do the matchmaking. So we have our, so this is the timeline. We are now at the 16th of January. We have our online information session. Then between now and the 16th of February, more or less, the universities will have their on-campus information sessions. 11th of March, we have the closing of the registration. And then the 16th of April, we will host an online announcement session where we announce the finalists and the placement of the selected individuals to the teams. Then between the 17th of April and the end of September, all the teams will work on their innovation. During that period, we will provide mentoring and workshops. Then the 30th of September, the big finals, where all the teams will pitch their ideas, and we have a jury for you. Then we will the winner gets exposure, and then we will invite you all to apply for a spot at the Youth Food Lab incubation program that will run from February 2025. This is so this is all the information we have. So I want to ask all the speakers to come into the session again, and then I will give the floor to Maaike. And Maaike will lead us through the questions we will give the answers, but Maaike will do the whole session. How do you say that?
The Q&A session.
The Q&A session. So please, all the speakers, can you come in the screen again?
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to thank all the speakers for joining today and the very interesting presentations that you gave. I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm Maaike, and I'm a student here at Wageningen University, and I study International Land and Water Management. And I work for various student challenges and focus with Miriam on this challenge. And I'm very excited for the challenge to start. So now we will discuss all the questions that you have. So if you still have any questions, then please post them in the Q&A section or in the chat. So the first question that I have will be for Miriam. And we briefly already answered to it in the chat, but I think it's still good to clarify it. The question was from Marit, and it was about if you apply as an individual student from Wageningen, can you also be coupled to students in Wageningen?
Okay, thank you, Marit, for this question. I also have a question for you. Do you mean that you would like to be mixed or meet other Wageningen University students that you can form a team, or are you interested to join individually another team, and not from Brazil or Ethiopia, but then from Wageningen University Research? Because I think for the first question, Maaike already put a reply in the chat. We really recommend you to come to the on-campus information sessions where you will meet other students that are interested in joining the challenge. So there we can think of a way, maybe we can make a marketplace. Maaike, I'm looking at you on the spot. That's also something that the other coordinators that are joining from the other partner universities can think about, how there will be a question of individual students at your university that want to start a project, but maybe they don't have teammates yet. So at the on-campus info session, it will be good to make time for individual students to pitch their idea maybe, and then attract other students to join that team. So that's an answer to if it's about forming a team at Wageningen University Research.
Yeah, I see that Marit responded, and I think her question has been answered. So that's great.
Yes. Yeah.
Another question was, and I think Miriam, you could answer that one as well, is if you have an idea of the amount of workload that students can expect if they join this challenge.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So we've been doing student challenges for 5 years now, and our average of time load is between 4 and 8 hours a week. So it depends a lot on on the team that you are on and how much effort you want to put and how much you want to win, of course, because the more time you spend, usually the more chance you have to win. So it's I would say between 4 and 8 hours a week.
Okay, yeah, perfect. And then there was another question about the amount of funding that the teams will get.
Yeah. So we are. We will give funding once you start in April of up to 2,500. So it could also be less. The reason for that is that we are looking for impact partners at the moment in every country to provide the funding. And so that's why we ideally we would give every team 2,500 starts. So we ask all of you to make a budget in the concept note of an amount of 2,500. But we cannot at this moment we cannot yet guarantee that we can give seed funding of 2,500. But we are surely trying everything we can, and there will be some funding available anyway. During the finals, the 30th of September, there will also be awards money available.
Yeah, okay. And so then maybe the next question, which is then also focused on that, the grand finals, because then there's the question, will we have to fly out to the Netherlands for this final presentation?
Yes. Oh, it's nice. All the questions are for me. It's. I hope some people also think of some questions for the speakers.
Yeah.
I invite you to do that. So for the finals, the 30th of September, we invite one student per team. So in your team, if you are selected, I think very soon we will ask you, okay, whom are you going to nominate to come to the Netherlands for the finals? And there will be funding available for that. And there's accommodation arranged. And we are at the moment also arranging an excursion program. So, but we only have spots or funding for one person a team. But you never know if the universities, if we can arrange things from funding through other sources. But count on one person per team to come to Wageningen to do the pitching.
Yeah, okay. I sort of don't see any other questions for the speakers yet. So I guess I'll have to get back to you again, Miriam. And that's about the recordings, if the session is recorded.
Yes, the session is recorded, and we will send it along with the email with the links to the registration form, national pathways. Yeah, so there will be one email with the recording.
Yeah, and then there's also the question if the on-campus session will have a recording available.
Well, we can ask maybe Judith or Thais, but ours at Wageningen University, well, I can tell you this, Nepal, Kathmandu University, they will host a hybrid session because since we are open to mix the teams, so Kathmandu University also approached universities at other places in Nepal. But yeah, in the Netherlands, it's very easy to come from Groningen to Wageningen for a physical on-campus. But in other countries, like Brazil, I think is also huge. So in Nepal, they decided to do a hybrid one. So that could, but I don't know. So we will communicate that with you if it is. You will find it on the website. But the one in Wageningen, we will not record it. And maybe you, Judith, do you have what are the plans for you? You have it tomorrow, right, at Lukenya University?
Yes, ours is tomorrow at Lukenya University, Harris Mule Hall. It's going to be face-to-face. But depending on the need, we may have it hybrid because we can be able to send links to those who want to join up with students that are on session. So that's possible. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Yeah. And at Esalq, you have it hybrid. So
okay,
on the plan.
And I understood that you still are on holidays in Brazil. That's why, we don't.
More or less. So by the end of January, we'll have our in-place meeting. but hybrid. So we can have other students from the University of São Paulo and not only from Esalq and other institutions too. And we'll share the link.
Oh, that's really great. And for a student, if you are from another university and you are a bit sad that you cannot form a team, this is a pilot year. So we started with 9 universities, but we are planning to do this yearly, and then we will want to scale up. So there will be other universities also invited to participate. And then it helps if we already know students and staff at that university. Like we've known Thais for also, I think the last Food Systems Innovation Challenge was like 4 years ago. Judith, we've known her university for 2 years. And so we are building up relationships. So if there are people from other universities watching, reach out to me to ask for 2025.
Yeah, because it would be amazing to have more universities involved in this challenge. And then there's another question for Swante, and it's about how do the teams get in contact with the leaders of the national pathways in their country?
Very good questions. I think we can unfortunately not give you the contact details of the conveners, because otherwise they would be bombarded from early morning to late nights. But what you can do is you can probably, in many cases, those who are leading the food system transformation are the Ministry of Agriculture. It could also be the Prime Minister's office or other ministries. Perhaps when you look at the national pathway, you will see who has drafted it, and you can then reach out there. So you will have to reach out. I mean, that would be my first suggestion. And then from there, it shouldn't be that difficult to see which ministry, because that's the key question, which ministry has been led the development of this. And then you should see if you can get contact with those.
Okay, perfect. And then there's the question for you, Miriam. Is there a specification on the specific area of innovation that we need to develop a solution for, like a specific team within the Food System Challenge?
Yeah, if you go to the website, you see some themes that we put on the website. But it's also the beauty of this challenge is, I think, that we. So I'm from the Netherlands, so I have no idea what the issues are in your country. And luckily, we have national pathways, etc. So we want to keep it really open, so students can think of their own country and their own needs, and also develop an innovation that is really relevant for your own surroundings. But on the website, you will see we talk about social inclusion. We think healthy diets is really a theme that is really important, because we can talk about people don't have enough to eat, but the quality should also be enough. There should be enough nutrients in the food. So there are a lot of projects that you can think of. But I would say also check out our website for that. And if you go to the concept note that you have to fill in, you will also find a lot of criteria that we think is important. So what is the impact on climate? What is the impact on, biodiversity is very important. So there are, if you go to the concept note, I would say if you are thinking of registering, please open also the format for the concept note, so you can already go through and see what we are expecting from you.
Yeah, and I've shared the links to the website in the chat if you're still looking for them. And on the website, you can then also find the concept notes. So I'd recommend to check that out. And then there's one last question about the currency in which the funding is. Is it a question? Yeah. So we just talked about it in the session I had before. The currency it's up to €2,500, but it can be in your own currency, because we had interested impact partners in some countries that said, we cannot. It's very difficult for us to get dollars or euros, but we can support in local currency, and that's fine. So that is it will be in local currency or in euros. Yeah. Yeah.
Just to give an indication on the amount.
Yeah, so I hope that question is answered now as well. I think so. And I think apart from that, we only get a lot of good responses and thanks for the presentations and people that are excited for the challenge to start. So yeah, then if there are any more questions, please post them now.
Yeah, and I see we are out of time now. so it's but yeah, I really enjoyed the session, and thanks to all the speakers, and thanks to you, Mike, also. You want to have some famous last words, Mike, as a student?
No. I give all the credits to you, Miriam.
Well,
and the speakers.
Yeah, so if one of the speakers still has a remark, that's fine. And otherwise, we will close the session. And looking forward to what is coming next. And good luck, everybody, with writing your concept note and applying.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hands on.
Good luck. Good luck to everyone.
Luck. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.